I think he's gonna come back up here. Oh.
NANI?!
Alright, the complete build is going to look something like this, and the awesome part is, if you're hitting your dynamites right, you'll basically be done building by like round 5, and by round 6 and 7 you'll have more cash than you can even spend, unless you're just slotting purples you don't even need. For powers, you'll start with early detonation. Always make sure you shoot your dynamite to reduce the cooldown. Even if it ends up being a bad dynamite, just shoot it. Next, you'll get my business, my rules. At this point, your gameplay loop becomes throw dynamite, light everyone on fire, shoot a few enemies, throw another dynamite because it's off cooldown already, light everyone on fire again. I'm sure you can see where this is going. And it's any damage with your gun, by the way. You can just spam unscoped shots to get your dynamite back as fast as possible. Next, you'll take out with a bang. So you're already basically chaining dynamites into each other, right? Well, now they have the Merv affix, and you can also shoot the spawn dynamites to set them off early. Very nice. For the last power, I typically do Incendiary Blast or Molten Munitions. If the enemy's playing a more ranged poke style, might not need Coach Gun as much, so Molten Munitions. If they have a Ryan and Lucio trying to run you over every fight, might take Incendiary Blast. I will say though, having the Coach Gun apply burn is great for missed dynamites on close targets, because then you can shoot the now burning enemy and get another dynamite quick. First item, Stacked Sticks. Buy as soon as possible. Ability power and increased dynamite explosion radius. The order doesn't matter for the rest of the items, just buy them when you can. Infrared lenses, AP and increased damage to burning targets. Silver lighter, AP and increased ult charge from burning targets. With the amount of damage you'll be dealing, you're gonna farm bobs. Iridescent iris, ignore the effect, it's nice or whatever, who cares. AP and cooldown reduction. More damage, faster dynamite. Champion's Kit, of course, probably a must pick for any AP build. Massive AP boost. And last, Catalytic Crystal, AP and Farm Bob, even more. Alternatively, if they're rushing you down, you need more survivability, Lumerico Fusion Drive. Gives AP and armor, plus heals the armor on ability usage, which for this build is basically all the time. So in round 1, just take the basic AP and weapon power boosting items. If you're doing it right, you should be able to get stacked sticks at round 2. From there, get your target items when possible and spend the rest on anything that boosts AP, with secondary effects prioritizing cooldown reduction, then weapon power. As you'll start to scale in later rounds, everything should start moving into AP, so your dynamites hit like a truck. Personally, I don't even look at the weapon or survival trees, because you mainly use your gun to apply your dynamites, reduce their cooldowns, and finish off targets. Now, I have been fortunate so far in my Stadium career to not have to deal with this, but let's talk about this build's biggest obvious weakness: cleanses. If the enemy team has a Kiriko who's paying attention and figures out what you're building for, you're gonna have a bad time. She's gonna get her 2 Suzu power, then the power where cleansing effects from her teammates gives her ult charge, and she's gonna use you to get Kitsune every fight if you're not careful. Your only counter to this is to get furnace fuel to try and keep up, but realistically, who wins this fight? One Bob or the entire enemy team with Kitsune? Not saying it's impossible, but playing into a good Kiri is going to be an uphill battle, and it's really going to be an uphill battle if they also roll out on a Mei, Moira, Reaper, and Zarya. I've successfully played this into a Mei before, and some Moiras and some Zaryas, but if more than half their team can cleanse themselves, you might be better off going with a weapon power build. But assuming they aren't playing an entire team to counter Dynamite, what's the best way to play this version of Ashe? I spend most of my time pre-fight looking for Dynamite angles, but once my team is starting to get into position to actually engage, that's when I sneak off to set up a big Dynamite as my team is going in. Once the fight started, that's where the loop I said earlier comes in. Throw, detonate, shoot, throw again. The early detonation power also helps since you don't have to reload as often, but that's really the only time you want to take advantage of that part of the perk. It's during the fight. because if the fight hasn't fully started, shooting people first is going to give away your position, and then they're going to be expecting the dynamite. So instead of spamming, it's best to take your time and be sneaky during each poke phase. Pretend you're an actual sniper. Sneak in, let your first shot be on the dynamite, take a couple more shots for some extra damage, but if your team hasn't fully engaged yet and you don't think you can secure a kill, back off, reposition, and look for another dynamite. Keep them guessing. Be the boogeyman. Where's that next dynamite coming from? Should be the only thing on their minds. And they should look like this by the end of the match. And I think that's the only general advice I can give for this build. Of course, depending on what the enemy's running, you may have to get real creative with your positioning to land the dynamites. Sitting at the back of main and just lobbing them in might not be easy if they're running a Rhine or a Diva. I don't know why anyone would be running a Diva by now, but that's beside the point. If you're going to go for a deep off angle, just remember to keep your trigger discipline and have your coach gun ready to blast you back to your team as soon as you hit that dynamite. And before I sign off, please tell me your favorite weapon power build for Ashe in the comments, if you have one. I need something to use when my luck runs out and I finally have to fight a good Kiri Zarya. But if you like this video and you want to see more like it, please hit the like button and subscribe. Good luck in your games, thanks for watching, and see you next time.